Ladies and gentlemen, the Winter Olympics are coming, and if you remember how prices evolved for the Summer Olympics in Paris in 2024, hoteliers and hotel data junkies like myself are very interested in how pricing materializes in Milan early next year. We're about 3 months out from the Winter Olympiad, which will be held in Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo. For today's Lighthouse Quick Take, we will be looking at how pricing has been performing in Milan. So a quick refresher on what happened in Paris's Summer Olympics back in 2024. Overall pricing for the Parisian Olympics started quite high, so high that over the course of much of the price evolution curve, price was adjusting downward as the event approached, and those who booked much closer to the event actually paid much less than those who booked well ahead of the event. And this is certainly not what hoteliers hope for when a global event like the Olympics comes to town. Ideally, hoteliers are able to drive pricing for much of the lead time. So let's take a look at how Milan has been faring. So first, let's take a look at pricing for the full stretch of the Olympics in aggregate, and we'll look at this evolution curve, which starts at the 7-month lead time mark. And just so everyone understands what we're looking at the far left where you see 210 days or 7 months, this means aggregate pricing for every day of the Olympics 7 months beforehand. So for that data point, for example, the opening ceremony is February 6th. So this would be 7 months before February 6th, 7 months before February 7th, 7 months before February 8th, and so on in aggregate. So what do we see here? I think the first thing that jumps out is just how stable 3 and 4-star pricing has been, just unwavering. Other than this little blip we see on the far right of the chart. And, I think this is extremely interesting. It almost feels like hoteliers at these tiers found a price that is driving bookings at the level that they're hoping for, and they're just sticking with it. It'll be very interesting to see how things materialize over the next 3 months and see if there's price movement or if they're holding steady. 5-star, on the other hand, appears to be much more actively and dynamically revenue managing. We see a bit of a downslope from that 7-month lead time mark, and it appears to bottom out around that 5.5 month mark, and then an upslope appears and pricing is once again driving upward. Little dip around the 4-month mark, but that again reversed course. Normal to see little ups and downs, but generally speaking, since around the 5.5 month lead time mark, pricing does appear to be trending upward. On the next slide, we have pricing solely for the Friday and Saturday nights of opening weekend. So opening ceremony on Friday and the Saturday as well. And I gotta say, it looks pretty similar. Again, 3 and 4-star pricing is largely steady. Small little blips, but holding very steady overall. And similar to the curve for the full event, we see 5-star pricing charging upward, starting right around the 5-month lead time mark. Again, little up and down fluctuations, but overall the trend line is up and to the right. And we do see pricing cross that €1,500 per night threshold a couple of times for opening weekend, which we did not see yet in the curve for the full Olympics in aggregate. So, thus far, I would say cautious optimism for hoteliers in Milan. We're certainly not seeing a downsloping price curve for any class of hotels as of this point. The stable pricing we're seeing in the 3 and 4-star segments, it's very interesting. Certainly not what I would have expected personally, but like I said before, we're not seeing any explicit discounting, and hoteliers are likely satisfied with the rate at which bookings are coming in at those classes. And if you're wondering where actualized pricing was this past February of this year for the equivalent dates, average pricing was around €243. So pricing is certainly materializing nicely and showing chunky year-over-year gains at the moment. We will of course be monitoring this and reporting back to you guys as the event draws closer, so do not worry, we will be covering this extensively. Between the Olympics and the World Cup, we will have loads of data for you guys, so buckle up for what will be a wild ride. Wild within the context of hotel data. That's it for today. Thanks as always for spending a few minutes with us. My name is Blake Ryder, and we will see you next time on Lighthouse Quick Takes.